I'm kchoi, welcome to my channel. You guys seemed to like the last travel story time I did, which was about how I almost missed a flight from Barcelona to London. If you haven't seen that, I will link it up there and in the description box below. Today's travel story time is kind of related to that one. It took place during the same Europe trip, and I also briefly talked about it in the travel tag that I uploaded a few months ago, but it's just so funny for me to look back on, so I wanted to share it again in its own video. Like the last story, this took place 5 years ago. It was on Easter holiday during my semester abroad in Bristol, England, and my friends and I were in Berlin, and we were a group of 8 people at the time traveling together. And it was our last morning in Berlin, and all we wanted to do was have some breakfast and then make our way over to the bus station so that we could catch our bus from Berlin to Prague. We had already seen all of the sites that we wanted to see, so on this last morning we just wanted to have a relaxing time and then yeah, just chill before we traveled any further. The night before this, we had gone to this restaurant called Santa Maria for dinner, and we knew about it because it was on this Berlin map that we got at the hostel that we were staying at. I think the map was geared towards young people because it also had a lot of nightlife on it. But anyway, in the descriptions, in the description of the restaurant, it said that they were known for burritos, and that's why we went. So I know you're probably thinking, like, why would you go to Berlin to eat burritos? But all I can say is that we were 8 Californians who had been abroad for a few months, and we had a craving that we couldn't resist. So we went there, and it was actually surprisingly really good. We picked up the burritos to go, brought them back to our hostel, and then just ate it together. They were huge burritos, very filling. I remember they were like fried on the outside after they had been wrapped. Kind of expensive though, like 10 euros per burrito, but at the time it was so good. And there were like huge chunks of avocado in them as well. So just a recipe to make any Californian really happy. And we liked them so much that we decided to go there the next morning, which was our last morning in Berlin. So that brings us back to when the story takes place. We planned out, you know, I think our bus was leaving at about 2 p.m. From Berlin to Prague. So we decided we would get breakfast at 11 a.m. at Santa Maria again, maybe eat for an hour, maybe a little more if we were chatting a lot, and then have plenty of time to get to the bus station, which would take like 45 minutes from where we were because the bus station was kind of on the outskirts of the city. I don't know why we didn't think about this at the time, but we didn't check when the restaurant would actually open. So we got there at 11 a.m. and we discovered that the restaurant wouldn't open until noon, which was an hour later. But even with that, that still worked with our timeline because if we got in at 12, we could probably leave by 1, and then if we just left right away for the bus station, then we would still have some time to spare before getting on the bus. Since there were a lot of shops on the street where the restaurant was, we just kind of did some window shopping. I think I remember buying some souvenirs and gifts. So we made productive use of our time, and then by the time it was 12 p.m. we went back to the restaurant to check if we could go inside, and they said they weren't going to be ready for another 30 minutes. They told us they weren't going to be ready until 12:30. So that was annoying, but you know, we could still make it if we ate really quickly and all of that. So we decided to stick with this plan. Like, we really wanted these burritos. You can tell, like, we didn't want to go, we didn't have another plan. There was no plan B. We just wanted the burritos, and then we wanted to leave. We asked though if we could sit inside because they had told us that they would open at 12. So we asked if we could sit inside because it was kind of cold outside, and they allowed us to do that. The server definitely didn't come to take our order until like 12:40. We were the only people in the restaurant though, so we figured as soon as we ordered, the food would come out pretty quickly because they wouldn't need to be making anyone else's food. Well, from this point, it's all a blur because it was like a mad dash. The food came out, it obviously like took longer than we anticipated. Paying for the food took longer than we anticipated, and then we were just sprinting from the restaurant to the metro station then like, you know, catching our breath on the metro station, checking our watches every second to make sure we would have enough time, and then sprinting to change lines on the metro, and then sprinting again from the metro station to the bus station. So all of that is a blur, except I remember when we got off the metro to finally get to the bus station, we had like a half-mile distance that we had to run through. That was like such a weird way to say it. We had to run like half a mile from the metro station to the bus station, and it started hailing. It was spring and we were really unprepared actually for the weather. It was so much colder in Berlin than we had expected, so yeah, anyway, it started hailing. And if you watched my last travel story time video, then you will remember that I was traveling with a big backpack as well as an overstuffed duffel bag, and then most of us were pretty much traveling with that kind of combo. Some people had like rolling suitcases, some people were good enough to just have one backpack. But anyway, we were all running, we were stuffed with the burritos that we had eaten not too long before, and we were also packed with all of our luggage. We're huffing and puffing and sprinting and getting hailed on and sweating, and I can see the bus in the distance, and it was really easy to spot because it was this huge yellow bus, and we knew what it would look like because on the website that we booked the tickets on, there was a picture of the bus. So that was good because we didn't have to go and check which gate our bus was at. We could just see it from afar. So we just made a beeline for it, and I could see that people were getting on the bus. The bus driver was checking their tickets, and like as we're getting closer and closer, that line is getting shorter and shorter, but we made it just in time. We were probably the last group to get on the bus, and we were so out of breath when we got on the bus, and it was all for a burrito in Berlin that we already ate the night before. It was so stupid. The nice thing is that the bus that we took from Berlin to Prague was really, really comfortable. I'll link the company in the description box below, but they had these comfortable leather seats, and there was an attendant who gave us complimentary water or tea or coffee or hot chocolate, like whatever we wanted. I'm not sure what would have happened if we missed it. Maybe we could have gotten on the one that was an hour later, or maybe we would have found a less comfortable way to get to Prague. I'm sure we would have, you know, been fine either way, but I'm just glad that we got on. So yeah, whenever you travel, things don't always go according to plan. You know, even though we had given ourselves all of this padding and this time to get to the bus station, the restaurant didn't open when we expected it to. It didn't even open when they said they were going to open. You never know. Always have a backup plan, or just be really stubborn, eat the burritos, and then barely make it onto the bus. Like, you could do that too. Anyway, that's all for today. Last time, some of you left some really funny travel stories in the comments below, so please feel free to do that again. I think it's always fun to share travel stories because even if you were miserable at the time, you can at least laugh on it when you look back on it. Laugh about it when you look back on it, or at least learn something from it. So please do share. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!